guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today, I'm going to update my list of the top 5 Swiss watches under $500. I made this video a few years ago. Prices have changed greatly, new models have come out, things have been discontinued, so on and so forth, and you guys really seem to like that video, so I'm going to remake it today. But of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today, I'm wearing my Seiko SKX, not a Swiss watch, but it is a very affordable watch, so it can't make the list, but I'll make another video where I can include Seiko, Citizen, Orient, and those guys. Love this watch, even though it is by far the least expensive in my collection, it does get a very substantial amount of wrist time. Also, guys, don't forget to check out delreywatch.com. We just got in an H. Moser Heritage Bucherer edition, very hard to find, and at a great price. We also got an Omega Speedmaster Professional Hesalite with the box and papers, along with a few other goodies that I don't want to spoil. Go check out delreywatch.com, link in the description below. So yeah, guys, watch collecting, okay? We sometimes forget or take for granted the money we spend in watches. I mean, watches cost hundreds of thousands, from a few hundred to hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. Hell, the Patek Philippe Grandmaster Chime just sold for $31 million at auction. However, you should never forget that you can get a very decent Swiss watch for about $500 or even under. And if you're just starting to get in this hobby, there's no reason you should go out and buy a Rolex sub for 10 grand, dip your toe in, and start with one of these. Or maybe you need a beater watch. You have a bunch of expensive watches, but you have nothing that you can kind of wear on vacation or maybe doing some yard work, and one of these less expensive options would fill that void. Regardless, you don't need to spend a ton of money to get a quality watch. And today I'm going to talk about 5 Swiss watches under $500 that are great. This list is in no particular order. A watch I love that's on this list is the classic Tissot Visodate. Tissot, of course, owned by the Swatch Group, that also owns, Swatch, Breguet, Blancpain, Glashütte, Harry Winston. I mean, some very powerful brands. Tissot is one of their more entry-level brands, but it's still a Swiss brand with a ton of heritage. This Visodate is a beautifully, classically styled dress watch with a day-date complication. It houses an ETA 2836. It's 40 millimeters, has a sapphire crystal on an alligator print band. That's probably the weak part of this. A nicer band, you should swap it out if you do buy this watch. But it's a high-quality watch at a movement, classically styled, and for about $460. By the way, guys, all these prices come from Amazon, and down in the description below, there are Amazon affiliate links if you choose to buy one of these watches. Full disclosure, you are helping the channel out, but I'm using Amazon as a kind of price indicator, because usually watches under $1,000, Amazon has some very, very good prices, free shipping, and a lot of times, their return policy is fantastic, just in case. So yeah, $460 on Amazon right now. It may fluctuate a little bit, as will some of these other watches. But let's say you want something a little bit more fashion forward. The Tissot Visodate just doesn't cut it for you. Little too old-fashioned. How about the Glycine Incursora? 46 millimeters, white dial, very fashion forward. It's got a Sellita movement, also a sapphire crystal, but you've got this kind of Panerai-esque look. Glycine, also a brand with history, even though their recent acquisition by Invicta has turned a few heads, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. 46 millimeters, if you're a bigger guy or you just want something more, with more presence, this is a great choice. Military styled, automatic movement, hard to go wrong. But let's say you want something on a bracelet or something very, very tough. These Visodates and the Incursora, they're just too expensive and they're kind of not quite rough and tumble enough. Well, then I'd go with a Victorinox Knox. Victorinox, also known as Swiss Army, make this watch in automatic or quartz, but I'm going to talk about the quartz version for about $220. Widely considered one of the toughest Swiss watches in existence. Yes, it's quartz, so it doesn't have that refinement, but it's something you don't have to worry about. Will very likely never need a repair apart from a battery change. It's got a steel bracelet. It's 43 millimeters, also sapphire crystal, which, by the way, in the $200 range, that's a great feature. We just have a large watch with a tough movement that, you know, this is perfect if you do extreme sports, if you do a lot of manual labor, or if you just want a less expensive watch to beat around in. This is truly a tough watch. And yeah, while you could go with a G-Shock or something Ani-Digi, a lot of men just don't like the quote-unquote childish look of these Casios. Personally, I have no problem with them. I like them. But if you want something more mature looking, the Victorinox Enox would be for you. Now, we go back to the 60s and 70s, something that's a throwback. If you're a watch lover, you've probably seen a lot of watch brands re-releasing a few of their heritage designs. Now we're going to talk about the Meno Commander. $500. This is a remake of a watch, I believe, from the late 60s, early 70s, with that mesh bracelet, that lugless design. Mido, also owned by the Swatch Group, same as Tissot, and this houses a day-date ETA 2836. Guys, don't forget, ETA watches are used in some pieces that are priced as high as $10,000, even more if you add like a perpetual calendar module. So for $500, you really get something nice. Now, of course, this also has a sapphire crystal, but what makes this watch special is the heritage design, the 60s and 70s styling. This is hip. It's also fashion forward, and it wears a little smaller on the wrist. Maybe this isn't a perfect everyday watch. You know, if you only have one watch and it's going to be a dress watch, I'd probably go with the Visodate. But if you want something with more personality or to add to your rotation, then the Meno Commander, even in a gold-plated gold tone, and guys, you know I'm not a huge fan of gold plating, is available. I think it's a great-looking watch. Now, last on this list is one where if you watched this channel before, you could see coming from far away. And that is the Hamilton Khaki King. Actually, correction, the Hamilton Khaki Field. The Khaki King is the day-date version. I'm going to switch this list around with the cleaner, time-only version. 40 millimeters, sapphire crystal. Hamilton, also owned by the Swatch Group. Guys, you might see a trend here. You know, the Swatch Group is a very large conglomerate of watches. You know, so Tissot, Mido, and Hamilton are part of that conglomerate. What makes this watch interesting is it houses the Hamilton H10 movement. Now, this is a modified ETA 2824 with a longer 80-hour power reserve. So even though you're at the $450 price point, you get something different movement-wise, which isn't particularly common. Now, this here is a field watch style, so military-inspired, very, very clean. I wouldn't particularly wear this with a suit, but it could be worn anywhere from casual to business casual. It really is a classic. Now, if you want the day-date version made famous by the TV show House, or partially by the TV show House, that is available in a very similar price range. So yeah, guys, Tissot Visodate, Glycine Cursore, Victorinox Enox, Meno Commander, Hamilton Khaki Field. Now, yes, there's a ton of watches I left off this list because I had to keep it to 5. There's a few, maybe versions from Laco that would fit, or Steinhardt, Luminox. There are other options, and just because I didn't include them on the list doesn't mean they're not good. And of course, let's not forget the Asian counterparts like Seiko, Citizen, Orient, and those guys. The whole point of this video is to show you that there are options at $500 or under, and these, I think, these are my favorite options under that price point, and they're all quality watches that are a safe choice if you're just starting with the collecting. As I said, guys, links in the description below to Amazon if you want to buy any of these, and it helps support the channel. Anyway, what do you think? Let me know. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a thumbs up. It really does help. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more content. Guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of Federico Talks Watches, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.